Hey guys, I'm Clarissa. I want to introduce you to Oksana Malaya, the girl who once identified as a dog.
At first, this looks like some kind of strange hoax. Ukrainian girl, Oksana Malaya, running, jumping, eating and barking just like a dog. But this is no fraud. Oksana's behaviour is the result of the most cruel childhood neglect. Neglect that began when she was 3.
Mum had too many kids. We didn't have enough beds, so I crawled to the dog and started living with her.
Her parents were alcoholics, and one night, too drunk to care, they left their infant daughter outside in the cold. Looking for warmth, Oksana crawled into the farm kennel. Curling up with the mongrel dogs probably saved her life.
I would talk to them, they would bark, and I would repeat it. That was our way of communication.
For the next 6 years, from the age of 3 to 8, the kennel was Oksana's home and the dogs her family. She had very little human contact, and when finally discovered, it was obvious there'd been catastrophic consequences for Oksana's development.
She was more like a little dog than a human child. She used to show her tongue when she saw water, and she used to eat with her tongue and not her hand.
The first time I saw this video, I was so shocked. Like, I thought it was a joke. But like when I actually watched it and I saw her barking like an actual dog, blew my mind. Crazy. And I was watching the video making faces because I was looking at her knees. I just imagine how blistered and painful that can be to like try to really like walk like a dog using your knees. So the good news is Oksana is now about 40 years old and she lives a fairly normal life. I think she just has issues interacting with people. I mean, that's pretty understandable given the circumstances. So the reason why I wanted to show you guys that video is because there has just been a lot of crazy self-identifications going on, like identifying as a dog, identifying as a cat, as a wolf, as like animals. And it's just really getting out of control. You know the saying, if one walks like a duck, talks like a duck, acts like a duck, then it is a duck? Well, what about in Oksana's case? She acts like a dog, walks like a dog, even barks like one. Is she a dog? Do we see her as a female dog as opposed to a female human being? I identify as a woman because of a mental condition called gender dysphoria. I'm not doing this to be trendy. I didn't just wake up one day and thought, oh, I feel like a woman today. No, this is something that I have felt ever since I was a child. And this is something that I was born with. I did not choose to have this kind of mental condition. Who would, right? Nobody would wish this upon themselves voluntarily. Although I identify as a woman, I also know that I am not a woman. I am male. I am a trans woman. I am a male who transitioned to female to look more like a woman. Therefore, I am a trans woman, not a woman. Self-identification is self-perception, and a lot of times that is not aligned with reality, and it does not alter reality either. And I think it's important that if we are self-identifying is that we don't detach ourselves from reality. And I just also want to point out that me saying that I am not a woman but a trans woman is by no means indicative that I am not for trans rights. I am. I believe that trans people should be protected by law, and I believe that trans people should have laws that are separate from women and men as well. As a trans person, I don't even feel the need to tell everyone how to treat me or to treat me as a woman. I think that on its own is kind of arbitrary and kind of self-entitled, because how people treat you is beyond your control. And I really don't like the idea of controlling or trying to control or telling people how one should be treated. I don't agree with the ideology that society has to adjust to, everybody in the LGBTQ community. I think it should be the other way around. It's insane to me to expect that, 99% of the population should adjust as opposed to like the 1%. My percentages can be wrong, but that's just kind of like an analogy of how like vast the difference is when it comes to numbers. I've said it 100 times and I'm going to say it again. Transitioning is really the key to kind of like alleviating a lot of the trans issues that I believe trans people are facing. Because look, if you transitioned well, like nobody's going to even tell that you're trans half of the time. Therefore, you are going to be treated with how you identify with. No words needed. Well, Clarissa, what if, somebody isn't as feminine? What if somebody is just born with extremely masculine features? Like that would take a lot of surgeries as well. And, hormones are just not going to be enough to look feminine. Like no amount of hormones can make me look like a woman. Well, that is also true. And, life isn't fair. Being trans is not easy. And if you are somebody who was born with extremely masculine features, like I have a lot of those too. I mean, maybe not as extreme, but like I have broad shoulders. I have an Adam's apple. I have no hips. I haven't had any surgeries to date. I've only taken hormones. I mean, there are some ways that you can do to really try to feminize yourself. If you have no hips like me, I avoid wearing, dresses that are tight that would really show my figure, because that would just show that I have no shape. Or maybe you can wear like like an undergarment with pads, with hip pads, to make yourself look more shapely. And have an hourglass figure. For me, I just prefer to kind of stay away from form-fitting, clothing. So I would wear flowy dresses. I would wear flowy skirts to hide that. And then, I have broad shoulders. I have man shoulders. So like long hair, like does the trick, right? It kind of takes away the broadness of your shoulders. And if you have if you're wearing like a flowy skirt, like the volume of the skirt kind of evens out the broadness of the shoulders. And with the Adam's apple, like I have one, but like I just never tilt my head back all the way. That makes me very dysphoric, like because I know I have it. I haven't had the surgery to get rid of it yet, but there are a lot of ways to try and feminize yourself without surgery. But if surgery is the absolute answer and it seems like the only way to really feminize yourself, I can understand like some people are just born with like really, really masculine jaws and maybe a much thicker brow bone. And, but sorry to say this, but like, then you're just going to have surgeries. Like I said, life isn't fair. I'm thankful that I'm Asian, that Asians just have a softer appearance. Even the males here, it's not easy for males here to look like a girl. But that is really like the truth. Like if you look like a woman, people will see you as a woman and treat you as a woman. And that would kind of get rid of a lot of, I feel, like trans people are facing. It's because they're not being treated as women because they don't look like women. I'm sorry. I'm not, like if that sounds harsh, but it is the reality. I'm not saying you're less of a trans person if you're less pretty or like less feminine. You are not less of a trans person, and your existence is valid. But, this is how the world works, and people are going to treat you based on how they see you. So if you want to be treated as a woman, then you have to try your best to look like a woman, whether that involves surgery or not. Period. So here are my final thoughts when it comes to self-identification. Self-identification is how one sees him or herself. I'm not going to say they. It is not how everybody sees someone. It's how you see yourself. That might not be the case for every single person in the world. So if you are self-identifying, like I identify as a woman, right? But in reality, I'm actually male. And if some people choose not to see me as a woman, still see me as male, treat me as male, then that's okay. That's their beliefs, their perception. They're totally like free to have their own opinion and, have their own ideologies. That's fine. Don't expect everybody to adjust to your self-identification. Don't expect everyone to agree with your self-identification. If you want to be respected, you should also respect other people's ideologies and perceptions. It should not be a one-way street. And if you do not like how one addresses you or perceives you or treats you, then just get rid of that person. If these are strangers, it's not really a big deal. But if these people are your friends, family, and they're just not budging, like they just won't respect you or your identity, then you have a choice to make there. Because if you're just not seeing eye to eye and they're just not agreeing with you, then it's up to you whether you want to, keep them in your life, because you know that you're going to have to deal with that every time you're around them. So that's really up to you. Like for me personally, if I am friends with somebody, like I wouldn't even be friends with somebody like that, I guess, if they don't respect my identity and they still like call me a he all the time. Like if it's a stranger, I don't care. But if it's like somebody that would be close to me, it would really matter a lot. That's going to be really important, of course. So if this person is constantly going to disrespect me, my identity, then I'm just not going to stop being friends with them. But like, if these are strangers, like I said, like I don't give a fuck. So please, if you do belong to the LGBTQ community and you are, you identify as something else aside from your given birth, what's the term? Aside from your sex assigned at birth, just please lower your expectations and be more realistic as to how people are going to react, how people are going to perceive you, and be more understanding and accepting of others' perception as well. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye, guys.